All right, everybody, thank you very much. And I know you all want to talk about what Leah was just talking about. I've known Leah for a while. She helped me. My challenge is... nobody is listening.
Yeah, that's it. What did she just teach us?
Hey? Yeah, right. So, good point, 100%. My challenge is actually which cap I'm wearing at the time I'm wearing it. Well, yeah, and see it's bold, right? There's a reason for that, because I have to keep changing caps. So I'm actually doing 3 cap changes in this discussion for you, right? The first one that I'm actually going to talk about is that My Place. So with My Place, we are out there as a lot of disparate little groups that are all around the country that was started by Darren Bergworth. And part of what we're trying to do is unite communities, right? Obviously, uniting communities also means getting out into other communities such as the 832, and that's one of the reasons why we're here. Not to mention I'm also here with VOF, for Voice of Freedom, and for Freedom Broadcasting Network, which I'll talk about later. But effectively, you guys who are wandering around, it's not about joining groups and being specific to your group and keeping your group. It's about getting those groups to interact with each other, right? Because let's face it, we're all looking for the same sort of thing. We're all looking for a solution to save this country. Is that not correct?
Yes.
Okay, now what Leah brought up beautifully was the fact that these groups get conflicts and interactions all the time, and people within the groups who have only ever been taught to really think about themselves get their feelings hurt, right? And you've got to look at that and say to yourself, well, what is the goal here? Do I let my feelings be hurt and I walk away from the group? Or do I let my feelings get hurt and keep the bigger picture in mind? Now, what is the bigger picture? Come on, you guys should be able to tell me. Save the country. Thank you, Corinne Dwyer. That's why Tim has Corinne. All right, so clap for Corinne. Right, it's saving the country. Now, our feelings can get hurt. Who cares? If we've got the bigger picture in play, then we should be looking at saving our country. And that's why these groups like My Place, 832, the other Truth Seekers, etc. groups need to start collaborating together and talking with each other and sharing with each other as part of that. And that is one of the ideas of My Place and its positive culture agreement. We're not there to dissipate bad energy, we're there to lift up the energy, right? Hence the reason for a positive culture agreement. And you look at that, and if you look at what we have in My Place in the positive culture agreement, it's all about love, care, understanding, being good to your common man, etc. and so on. That's all right. Gotta love phones, don't you? I've got one on my belt. I silenced it, I was smart. So it's all about those sort of things. So as for My Place Australia, I run My Place Manham, along with a group of freedom seekers that have been there for quite a while since the start of all this thing. I'm also one of the state coordinators. We have 3 state coordinators. There's myself, Lynn Bussertell is another one, and Tanya. She is also there. Now, those 2 ladies are fantastic. They've taken a great load off my shoulders, which is great because I go to sleep tonight and I won't remember what I'm supposed to be doing tomorrow at the moment. That's how sort of rattled I am in the brain. But so through that, you're able to contact those guys. I'm also part of the main My Place Australia national site, where I'm one of the stewards of that, which means that I'm one of the persons who stood up and said, if they're going to come after My Place Australia, and we needed to get an ABN so that we could do our own private unity hub, which is where you can actually go and talk to your heart's content with other people who think the same, right? But we needed to have an ABN, which means we needed to put some names up. So we are the guys who are legally responsible for what happens to My Place Australia. All right, so that's our own butts on the line, just in case you're wondering. they're going to come after anyone, they're going to come after us for that. Okay, but once again, the whole idea was producing the Unity Hub, which is a paid for service very similar to Facebook, right? But it doesn't have the restrictions of Facebook, right? So any censorship that needs to be done on that is done by the people who are reading the posts. They can put in a report. When it gets 5 reports, bang, that goes away, right? And then it gets adjudicated on, the person has the right of appeal, etc., and so on. But that whole idea of putting that community together was so that all the My Places could communicate. They could also start learning lessons in food, on how to look after gardening, what's the correct medicines, natural medicines, etc., and so on. That's all part of that whole group. There's other things like coordinating groups that are fighting councils, for instance. So that's all part of that as well. So that's one of the hats that I wear. The other hat that I wear is, you may have heard of Our Place Australia. Who's heard of that? All right. So what Our Place Australia is, and it's being developed at the moment, is a private members association. Who knows what a private members association is? A PMA. Right? Do you know the Red Cross? What do you think the Red Cross is? Sorry?
Someone to run away from.
Yeah, well, yeah, true. There's billions of dollars that they never gave to anybody, but Red Cross is a PMA. Your police departments have PMAs as well. So there's lots of different PMAs out there. So what we're looking at in developing in Our Place Australia is a PMA, or a private members association, for the people that they can then join, that we can operate as a private group, and we can start doing things like trading with other PMAs, etc., and step outside of the government's regulations, because the contracts between PMAs is private, hence private PMA, or private members association. Now, to join that, there's a joining fee, etc., on that, but it's not going to 100% protect you and your property and everything else. If you want to do that, that's all about you. You need to look at doing something in your own right for that, just to be clear, right? But it does give you the education of standing. Now, when I say standing, what do I mean by that? You heard Tim before speaking, saying, hey, when you go to the courts, this is how the court operates, blah, 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 right? If you, for any reason, were taken into the court, you've got to know your standing in the court, right? So you've got to go through, in our PMA, you've got to go through 12 modules before you even get the document. The whole reason being, we want to teach you your standing, right, as we go along. So when you walk into a court with this 75-page PMA, rebutting all this sort of stuff that the court can't do, and they haven't bothered to rebut it, you need to know what those bits and pieces are about. And you need to know your standing in that you are a spiritual being of conscious thought, right? Not a straw man entity, those sort of things. So that one is soon to be released, and it will be on ourplaceaustralia.com. You'll be able to go there shortly, and there will be a link to the page to sign up, and just as an interest page only. So you're not spending any money or anything. But as we start to develop that, you'll get notification that, hey, the first module's up if you wish to do it, etc., so on. So that's what Our Place Australia is, and I'll take a couple of questions about that afterwards. Right, hat number 3. And I've got a lot more hats, don't I, Corinne? All right, so one of those is that I obviously help Carl out with Voice of Freedom. I look after his website and various bits and pieces, because my superpower is IT as such. And as part of that, what I'm looking to try and do with what we just heard earlier today, do you think that there's something big happening? Yes? Right, so what I'm looking to do through what we call the Freedom Broadcasting Network, right, is get all of these truth seekers, all of these influencers, get them together on one website where you guys can just go and pick who you want to listen to, right? Instead of trying to chase them all over net, who's on Rumble, who's on YouTube, who's on whatever, you'll just go to this site and you might say, oh, I would like to look at Tim Dwyer's. Bang. There's his link. Goes and takes you to his pages that are relative, and there'll be some that'll be posted directly, right? There'll be a news channel on there which will give you the facts, both this side of a story and that side of a story, so that you can sit there and make up your own mind, not be talked into it like they do nowadays, right? There'll be other things like someone might want to put up a how to do a community garden channel and all that sort of stuff. So it's going to become a broadcasting network of the free. Does that make sense? So doing that, I'm starting to get together the guys from Faith over here we've talked to already. They'll be probably joining us on that after I bribe them a bit more. Did I say bribe? Sorry. You know, influence them a bit more, whatever. So the whole concept of that channel, and it's being built at this stage, it's been put together by myself, Carl, and another investor on it. It's running like everything on bare bones, so we'll try and get some advertising and some donations from people for it, because surprisingly enough, running IT costs money. You know, just a little bit, like a lot of money. But generally speaking, the Freedom Broadcasting Network is going to be there for your people. Also, alongside of that, and like Billboard Battalion, they're also going to come on board with that, so that's excellent, right? We're going to have a unique chat section for just those influencers, where we can all stay in contact with each other. So when something exciting happens, not mentioning Tim Dwyer, right? Just say yes, Tim.
Just say yes, it's okay.
Right. And sign here, yeah, that's right, contract. But when something exciting happens, we can blast it out to all the influencers and at once, and then they can all go and hit all their channels with that information, right? What do you think that would do? Right, make it much easier for people, no matter which channel they're on, to suddenly get, hey, there's something exciting happening in Canberra, or hey, whatever. Now, does it work? We saw the example in the US. How did Trump win his election? Yeah, he was also on heaps of podcasts, Joe Rogan, Megyn Kelly, etc. and so on. He used the alternative media to get to the masses. We are the alternative media. Actually, we're almost the mainstream media now, because the mainstream media doesn't know what they do anymore. So effectively, that's the processes of that hat that I'm wearing. So if you know influencers, right, feel free to contact us. It's vince@fbnmedia.online, right? So you can get us there, or you can email Carl from the VOF or myself, right? Remembering that we have all these channels, like Tim never mentioned his channel, which is ourtrueaustralia.com, right? You can go to his channel if you want to see documents and bits and pieces and whatever. Reason why I know that, because that's another one of my hats. Okay, so please spend the time to do that. Now, I'll just open it quickly. If anybody's got any questions on any of those three subjects, I'm happy to take them. Australians versus the agenda. Not yet, no. I do need to contact, I'm looking to contact every influencer I can, right? Some of which I don't have contact details for. And if anybody knows a way to get into these, that would be great, because if I just send them an email, it's probably going to land in spam, right? And then I'm not going to see it, because they would get thousands of emails a day, because there are thousands of people awake. They're just sitting back and watching though. They need to actually start stepping up into the game. So with that, if you know a way, let me know.
I need to put a post on there or something, I can do that.
Excellent, that would be great. Seems like either my talk gave you all the information you needed, or I confused the heck out of you. So I'm not quite sure which one yet.
Waiting for stuff to
Sink in.
that too. No, I think with some of these things, we just have to wait for them to evolve and be out there.
Yes. Yep. Well, it will be evolving over the next couple of weeks. So I started putting the website together the other day while I've been on the road.
Can you just repeat how to contact you?
Right, Vince at FBN, that's Freedom Broadcast Network, Media, F, Foxtrot, Bravo, November, Media, .online. And that is the proper domain. Right, that email is active and running now. Yep.
So is that broadcast network, I don't know the correct terminology or really what I'm talking about, but you know where they're talking about these VPNs and
Yep.
security, is that where you're going with these broadcast networks? Is it separate to what we would normally be able to search and find on a Google search or something?
Theoretically, you'll be able to find it on a Google search or a DuckDuckGo. It is just a standard website, but we own it, we control it. We will be hiring, obviously, the hardware to do that from a provider. Ironically enough, hopefully they don't take it down, but we'll have backups.
That was mine, yeah.
Right. There is, I say ironically, because at the start of COVID, I put up a Linktree, which was Unite Australia, right? And then Linktree, in 1 week, took it down from all the links that I was putting up there because it was all going to the doctors that were saying, this is not good, this is that, and whatever. All the evidence base was going up on that, and they took it down. So,
Censorship and
yeah.
with the government trying to ban people from.
Yeah, correct, right? So I went looking for another provider and I found one. And I ended up having that site up for quite some time. But here's the ironic part. The only place where I could go to put this site that I wanted to put out there was the very same hosting company that hosted the Nazi group. Nazi group. Yeah. Why did I go there? Well, if they didn't take them down, the hell is not going to take me down. Right? But that's the advantage of free speech. Wow. Cicadas. Everybody? Oh, well, that gives a good show. Freedom Broadcasting Network. There you go.
So if we just put in our computer, that should come up.
That will come up. The site is active already. It's just a landing page. I have been on the road with Carl for 2 weeks, so I haven't had a chance to finish or do anything with it yet. All right? It's a work in process, but that's something we need to do.
What you're, the FBN, the network system that you're trying to install, is it somewhat like what Michael Griffiths has got associated with Cafe Lockdown? Is it like a sister system?
Yeah, well, we would like Michael to come on board if he doesn't want to hold it.
You know where basis of my question goes.
Yeah.
This is a larger network than everyone knows. I don't know how many podcasts everyone listens to, but you can spend about 4 hours every morning just listening.
Yeah. Your biggest challenge is finding information. You can find a Cafe Lockout and you can go and watch him, right? You can find somebody else and go and watch them. But if we start getting everything together, right, then we can say, like, for instance, there's a really interesting piece on philosophy coming out of the Faith FM. Go to their channel. So that's something that we could say in one of our broadcasts on FBN. And then they can go to the FBN website and there will be a link to take them to that particular podcast, right? And that's the idea, that we start bringing all of these guys together. Not only so, they still have all their channels and they still get their funding from the channels. All we're doing is providing a link to it. Now, we might get some sponsorship from a VPN company or whatever else, or put a little ad in front of the link before it goes, because we've got to pay for our system, right? But it's all going to be together. But the real story is the background chat that's going to come behind with all these content creators talking to each other, right? So that they can advertise each other, so that they can get out a massive story if one hits. That's the real secret behind this. Okay, so that's what Freedom Broadcasting Network is all about, right? My place will be involved with it. Our place will probably end up having something to say. I have to chat with the other founders on that. Speaking of which, at this stage, I am still a founder for our place as well. Like putting myself in the fray, right? But that one comes with its own challenges. So I need an income that I can walk away from the government, and I don't have that at this stage. So still looking at how I'm going to do that. Yep.
Like Alliance Council of Australia and
Yep.
that will get on board.
Yep. Align Council is something that's very similar, right? And we are, Voice of Freedom is a member of Align Council already.
I know that.
All right, so there's, yeah, it is. I think Align Council is great, but they have their own agenda. We're not looking to have an agenda. We're just looking to put the press out there, right? And each channel to have their stuff, do their own thing, run their own game, right? But have that ability at the snap of a finger to plaster something Australia-wide and get everybody's attention, right? That's the concept that I'm looking at aiming here, all right?
That's what I find. You go search over here and you'll be looking at that, and then you get sidetracked on something else. Then you've got to go to another platform and look for something else.
Yep.
The time spent, if that comes together,
Yep.
and it gives you a link everywhere, it's like you're up to
Yep, that's right. Because when you think about it, because we've got X, thank God for Elon Musk, right? Bringing that in, right? So we've got X, we've got TikTok, we've got Messenger, which I hate with a vengeance. Facebook, you know, you've got your Rumble, you've got your YouTube, you've got, trying to think what the other ones are, Odessa, Odyssey, etc. Yeah, see, there's a whole nother Freedom Broadcasting you didn't even know about that's got really good stuff on it, right? But the trouble is you've got to go and search them all. The idea here is we bring those content creators into one location, like an index of content creators, and you can just go and pick and choose what you want out of there. And then you'll go off to their channels, right? So they'll all have their pages with some stuff that they'll write up on it, and the occasional new video they might want to link in, right? But you'll be able to find them at one location. All right, now, as I said, we'll try advertising and donations. We'll do what we can with that, but this concept is happening and will go ahead. All right? So with that, I thank you very much for listening to me. I hope that that gives you some options. Just keep an eye, look out for it. It will be fbnmedia.online is the website. It's already active as the landing page, but that will be developed over the next few weeks. Should be, I would say, it'd be up by Christmas time, the start of it at least. Okay? All right, thank you.